Now, the government is reviewing and relaxing guidelines of nightlight activities in Marina Bay to give businesses more flexibility in creating memorable experiences. The move is part of broader efforts to keep Singapore vibrant, attractive, and globally competitive. Plans are also in the works to enhance lighting programs in areas such as waterfronts, bridges, and public spaces. National Development Minister Chee Hong Tat says nightlife activities in Singapore and other global cities are becoming predominantly non-alcohol based. He adds that officials visited Australia last month to study how cities there have relaxed regulations to promote more arts and culture offerings and sports activities after sunset.
The important thing is this: take some calculated risks. Don't be overly kiasu, and don't try to preempt every risk ex ante. We accept some untidiness in the range of ground initiatives, including ideas which we may initially be unfamiliar with, and importantly, we need to be cool about it when some things go wrong from time to time, which is bound to happen when we experiment with new ideas and when we push the boundaries. So it is okay for some of our efforts to fail. We will learn, we adjust, and we try again.
The announcements were made during the launch of the 12th edition of I Light Singapore at Marina Bay. Over the next 3 weeks, visitors can feast their eyes on 14 sustainability-themed installations, with works using upcycled material and environmentally friendly bulbs. Food and performances will also be part of the festival. The event has drawn around 2 million visitors to each edition in recent years.
We are very pleased to have the sustained support of about 200 property owners and building owners coming on board to support this very, very meaningful program. We want to turn the festival from just being the typical event into one where visitor and the larger group of the community can have a genuine community experience.
And for more on what these new rules mean for tourism, we're joined by Dr. Wong King Yin, who is a senior lecturer at the College of Business at Nanyang Technological University. She's also Deputy Director at the Nanyang Centre for Marketing and Technology. And also with us is Dr. Tan Wen Research Fellow at the Department of Geography at the National University of Singapore. Welcome both. And let's start with Dr. Wong. Now, with these relaxed guidelines, what changes do you expect to see in the city centre? And how might that boost tourism for Singapore?
I think with these relaxed guidelines, the city centre will become much more alive. For example, the revised night lighting guidelines you just mentioned in Marina Bay, I think it will encourage building owners to introduce more immersive and dynamic light shows. And the introduction of the regulatory sandboxes will also enable businesses to pilot more creative pop-up events right on the ground. And from a marketing perspective, I think this can boost both the inbound and domestic tourism because people today look for unique experiences that stand out on social media. And if our city centre keeps changing and offering fresh things to do at night, both the visitors and the local residents will naturally stay out longer. And this means they will spend more money on food, shopping, and entertainment, which directly boosts our tourism receipt and local economy.
And there's also the question of what kind of tourism it's going to attract. So Dr. Tan, over to you. You study how policies shape the business improvement districts. So how could allowing more backpacker hostels and serviced apartments in the central areas actually transform these districts?
So thank you so much for the question. I think what would be really, as been mentioned, the footfall in the area will certainly be increase, especially past working hours. And I think that will really add to the vibrancy of the area. And it'll be really interesting as well to see the kind of demographic, how these the people who stay in these backpacker hostels might skew younger, and that might bring about a more diverse population. I think specifically for the pilot business improvement districts operating in these areas, they would be able to plan for more diverse programming with a lot more confidence that they will be able to find that kind of footfall and visitorship in these areas.
And Dr. Wong, how might this shift then change the type of tourists that Singapore attracts, and why does it matter? We heard Dr. Tan earlier mention younger, more diverse crowds. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yes, I totally agree with Dr. Tang. I think this shift helps Singapore welcome a wider mix of visitors, maybe moving beyond like what we think our traditional focus on family demographics. And I think by lifting the housing restriction in central areas like Singapore River, Beach Road, we can directly attract the high potential early career segment, which is how STB, Singapore Tourism Board, call this segment, maybe through more backpacker hostels, because I think this early career segment, they are younger and they may be more budget conscious. And if we have more backpacker hostels to let them stay right in the heart of the city, they can save money on lodging and stay closer to the city center. And they are more likely to spend more on local food and experiences. And what is more important is this segment, because they are very active on social media. They will share their journey online, and it can create invaluable organic social media content that help promote Singapore globally for free.
And Dr. Tan, we're also seeing a push towards nightlife that doesn't center on alcohol. What has been the experience of other cities in this regard?
For sure. So I think Minister Chi referenced cities like cities in Australia like Sydney. I think for Vivid Sydney, which is a light festival, has really become a flagship event and boosted the nighttime economy significantly, specifically in the winter months, which have traditionally been more lull periods for the city. I think in cities like London, you really see how the proliferation of these kind of light events and nighttime festivals have boosted the central business district, has really brought vibrancy and footfall to the area way past dark. And I think what's really, really interesting is seeing the impact on adjacent infrastructure. So, for example, to support these kind of nightlife economy and the nighttime economy in London, they've implemented the night tube system, where on selected evenings, I believe Friday and Saturday nights, the tube system runs the whole night. And I think that brings about convenience to commuters, and this convenience really extends way past these specific precincts.
Convenience aside, do you think that this latest shift, Dr. Tan, can also take the edge off areas like Boat Quay or Clarke Quay, for example, which has always been known for more alcohol-driven nightlife?
Certainly. So I think areas like Boat Quay and Clarke Quay have really worked really hard to build up their brand image and really establish a very strong customer base. And I think for Singaporeans especially, we really have Clarke Quay very close in our hearts. And it's a very formative part of our growing up, going out experiences. I think what we're going to see instead is more complementary nightlife spots emerging in different neighborhoods, which I think will really allow Singapore to demonstrate and really showcase the different textures and nightlife and diversity that we have to offer.
And speaking of different textures, Dr. Wong, there's clearly a move towards curated experiences. We heard earlier about the arts, lighting, non-alcohol events. So do tourists today value these a lot more compared to, say, traditional heritage and history activities?
I think it is not that tourists value one more than the other. Instead, they are very greedy and they want them to be mixed together. So when we think about traditional history and heritage sites, they are quite structurally static. So once a tourist visits a historic building, then the urgency for them to return and make another visit decreases. So when you think about like curated events like art and light festival, on the other hand, they can change every single year and can attract more repeated visits. So, for example, the Art Like Singapore Festival has successfully drawn about 2 million visitors per edition in recent years. And so when we blend our static history, for example, the Singapore River shophouses, with a rotating calendar of unique art, lights installation, and curated events, I think this can transform our traditional heritage sites into living cultural hubs that can keep tourists coming back again and again.
And Dr. Wong, very quickly before we go, what do you make then of the plans to refresh Orchard Road? There are more green spaces and pedestrian-friendly areas around Dhoby Ghaut that are planned. Do you think this could help to bring new life back into the Orchard Road district?
Yes, I think this can bring new life to the district by boosting domestic tourism. By building beautiful playgrounds and open lawns for events, it can attract local families and young people who usually maybe spend their weekends in neighborhood malls. Once these visitors come to enjoy the park, they will naturally wander around Orchard Road to shop and eat and spend more time there. So basically, the refreshed Orchard Road can really provide locals more reasons to visit. And on the other hand, we can expect that there will be some regular outdoor events to make the district more vibrant. So I think this outdoor vibrant events can also help to draw the international tourists.
Dr. Wong, Dr. Tan, thank you both for sharing your insights. That was Dr. Wong King Yin from NTU Singapore and Dr. Tan Wen from NUS.